All right, welcome everyone. I'm Morris Jackson, and this is Religion, Economics, and Politics. And we want to welcome you again to another dynamic episode. And I'm always so excited when I have this brother on the podcast, Mr. Raymond Brown with symorinvestments. And you know what? I'm inspired. I'm inspired because I want everyone to learn how to invest. And the name of today's podcast is So Easy a Caveman Can Do It. And Raymond's going to show us how to do it. So, Raymond, we went through 2023. Now we're in 2024. And of course, everybody's got a saying about 2023 is this and 2024 is this. But let me tell you, I really do believe that 2024 is the year of fruition. So if people were on the fence and not sure about how to get in investing, I think this is the year to do it. So, but first off, let me just take a step back. And for those that don't know you, let's let them get a little acquainted with you and just kind of tell the audience who you are and a little bit about yourself.
Okay. Excellent. Well, thanks for having me on. And it's always exciting to be a part of your broadcast here. I think religion, economics, and politics, man, you're hitting all the hot topics right there. So you're a great person to do that. You're very brave to hit those areas. Well, I'm Raymond Brown, and I am an investor by heart, right? I've been doing this since 1998, and I age myself every time I say that. But it's been an exciting journey, and it's been a journey that has paid off handsomely over time, right? And, you mentioned the name of the company, symorinvestments. Well, back in 2016, I hit a crossroad. My daughters were getting up in age and they were, preset with their destiny, once college, business owners, all that good stuff. And at crossroad, I said, hey, we can ride this thing out, or you can take a higher purpose for what you have learned over these years and apply them, especially to our community. Give them a framework so they can begin the investment journey. Because, investing has been good for you. We know it's good for the well-off. All they do is invest. They don't have cash sitting around, and they don't spend their money everywhere. Of course, they're going to run out of things to buy, right? So right. What they do second nature, they invest. So we know that's the way to go. Now, there is a gap between people working all the time, doing the right things, having fun on the weekend, honest people that are working for a living, trying to get to that next level. You got that personality, and you got these billionaires and millionaires out here just repeating a process that's keeping them where they are. So I said to myself in 2016, there's a gap there. Let's address that gap. So symorinvestments was launched in March. And I just did an 8-year anniversary. It was launched in 2016, and the purpose of that was to introduce the masses to the investment community. How can they get involved? Well, I know our culture, we spend a lot of money, but there's something missing. We work hard, we spend a lot of money, but why is there not a closing of a wealth gap between, certain classes of people? And I think the investment pieces are the key. So we started this company. I can probably say we've trained over 6,000 people now. And
we over 6,000 people.
6,000. So we have a lot of we have seminars, we have recorded webinars, we have this conferences, we have lots of different ways to reach people. But the thirst was there. Even in the very first class, I recall, because people were very familiar with what I had talked about on social media, I had a physical class. People were literally going next door to get chairs to bring people into the class because we had
you had an overflow.
We had an overflow. That's what we call it, overflow. As a preacher, call it overflow. So they were coming in, and every year around around a certain time of year, I'll get a memory on my Facebook. It is in that first class will pop up. It always humbles me and lets me know what our purpose is, right? And our purpose is to bring the art of investing to the masses. When I say the masses, I'm talking about our barbers, right? Beauticians, people that want to paint your house. How do they build wealth, right? Nobody's really addressed that community. What we've done is, and we know there's a desire for retail investors to go out there and open up all these accounts and start doing stuff. But I know in even doing that, just because you know how to do it, there is a process to it, right? Yeah. And what I try to do in this business is create a process for everybody to follow, apply that, give that process, develop it, put it in a framework, and allow the common workers to be able to follow that framework. When I say common workers, I mean like truck drivers, cleaners. You can be an educator, all sorts of people who are not familiar with what we're doing and not familiar with doing it the right way. So that's kind of the history of the company and who I am, because I am the company. So the fiber of me is the company. So that's kind of the backdrop and the purpose in starting Sidemore Investments.
So, and Ray, and thank you for that. And I want to just say that, look, I can attest to everything that Ray is saying, because I've actually tried his products and his shadow program. And like I said, if you follow and trust the process, you can't be emotional about it. That's the one thing I had to learn. You can't be emotional, because the stock market does what? It goes up and it goes down. But if you follow the system, then you will understand how to, how would I say, benefit from those swings. So, because everybody wins, everybody's winning no matter which way the stock market goes. So Ray, I think let's just kind of I want to slow it down for a second, because some people need to understand, when you say buy stocks, what does that mean to the layperson? I don't even understand any of this stuff with the stock market. All I know is I turn on the news and I see some guys with newspapers, and I see guys that got, and you turn on Squawk, and they got all these lines, squiggly lines going up and down, all these numbers going across the screen. And that's for the rich guys and people that are real smart, So what does it actually mean to invest in the stock market, or to even buy a stock? What does that mean?
I love that question. So I'm gonna splice the two words, buy and invest. Initially, you said buy. Coming from a system or an economy that strives off of consumer growth, there is a narrative or a push to have everybody have the mentality of buying, consuming, right? So when we say the word buy, we can apply that to the consumer goods that are out there. We go to Target, we buy things. Normally when you buy things, you consume it and it's gone forever, right? But you're okay. You say, hey, I had a cup of coffee at Starbucks. I bought it, I enjoyed it, and it's gone. To me, that's the word buy. When we talk about investing, we're talking about taking that same money that you have spent at Starbucks. However, we're going to put it in something that what Warren Buffett likes to say, income producing asset. So I park my money there. Buying and consuming, it's gone. I've enjoyed it for a moment, right? And it's gone. Investing means I park my money and I allow it to work for me over a period of time. Now, what does it mean to invest in a company? To do that, we are actually parking our money into an idea, a concept, or a process that's in play at a particular company. When I say the word process, I mean them actually taking goods in, providing some sort of service, and putting out some sort of output. Physical, tangible activity that's happening. When I invest in a company like that, I'm parking my money into that idea, and as that idea grows, as the company grows over time, I want to see the money that I parked over there grow over time with it. So there's a distinct difference. You got two paths here, and I want everybody to understand this. For the rest of 2024, every dollar that you put in your possession, it's going to do two things with it. It's going to either at some point be invested or spent. It's binary. Invested or spent. Now,
I like that.
There's no two ways about it. Even if you say, hey, I'm ignoring that conversation, that doesn't apply to me, it's that conversation still applies to everybody that is able to, accumulate money. So when you get money, you're going to spend it or buy it. I like to challenge people to go back into 2023, look at their checks, go to their bank statements, look at all the places they put their money. Everything, everywhere that does not include investing means that money's been consumed and is gone away. Anything that you have invested in potentially will still be here and still grow. Now, what does it mean to buy a stock? Well, I'm going to invest in an idea of a company, and if that company turns around and produces like it's supposed to and it grows over time, well, my money grew over time. Now, we don't say we invest everything that you have. You don't have fun. We just say earmark portions of your money for yourself. How do we do that? Well, you put it in a savings account, but we know putting money in a savings account, inflation is going to eat that up over time. What does that mean? That means if it costs $100, you can put $100 in your savings account, and it may give you 2 bags of groceries. When you pull that $100 out of your savings account, it may give you 1 bag. That means you've lost half of the value of the money.
Right.
So putting it in a savings account doesn't really work for me. So I like to park it in an income producing asset like stock market, stocks, invest it there and allow that money to work for me. So when I talk about this activity of investing, that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to take money and allocate that money into a vehicle that's able to grow over time.
So if I'm hearing you correct, and I just want to clarify for everyone that's listening out there, so I could either buy that Louis Vuitton belt and that will depreciate over time, and I won't get any return on my investment except for maybe just the satisfaction of saying, hey, I've got a Louis Vuitton belt. But if I invest in Louis Vuitton, the idea or the company, I can now put my money somewhere and it will grow or work for me
over time.
Years over time. Right. So it's not a get rich, I'm going to put it in and I'm going to have $1 million tomorrow. But I could just imagine, and I always think about Amazon. Everyone thinks about Amazon, and I just use a round number just for argument's sake. Had I invested, say, $10, per share of Amazon whenever it first started out, way back when, and they were just selling books. And no one ever thought this thing was going to grow or do anything. We didn't really know what it was. But those who caught on to the idea and had the vision, they caught the vision and invested, they're much more well off versus, say, the person who probably bought a book off of Amazon.
Exactly right. That's consuming versus investing. And you really tied back to that first conversation where I said you're investing into ideas, concepts, process. That's where you're parking your money. Now we'll go back to that Louis Vuitton statement. Now, I know a lot of people like luxury brands. I've come to find out over time that, luxury brands are good because they tend to retain value more so than the cheaper brands. However, if you think about the majority of your spend, it's not around Louis Vuitton and Gucci and Prada and all that stuff. The majority of people spend is going to be at TJ Maxx and Target and Marshalls and those sorts of places. And if you think about it, when you buy things like that, what happens? You have to replace it over and over and over. So when you do start consuming, quality does matter, right? That's the point I'm trying to make. So again, when you're even on the consumption side, you're investing into quality or non-quality. So again, every dollar that you spend, it's going to be invested or not, right? It's binary. So I just want to make that clear about the luxury brands. Sometimes luxury will hold its value more so than the other stuff. But again, majority of folks are spending money on stuff that's quick, easy, fast, cheaper. But those things tend to have to be replaced more and more often. And actually, Warren Buffett talks about this again. He talks about quality of suits, right? He say he get high quality suits when he buys suits because they last longer. So again, every dollar that you spend, think about it from an investment perspective, even on the consumer side.
That's amazing, and I like that way of looking at it, and also look at it from a biblical standpoint because this is religion, economics, and politics, and I always tie it in. And people always say, "Well, money isn't everything," but the Bible also says, "Money answereth all things." That's scripture. Like I said, I look at it also from a biblical standpoint. I remember in the Bible where it talks about the the men with the talents. And
That's right.
the other servants went and invested. Those that invested, then the master came back. He praised them. He said they did good. But the one who buried that talent or the money in the ground, he called him wicked.
That's right.
And took it from him, because he at the least took it from him and gave it to the one who had the most.
That's correct. That's correct. And I was talking about Ecclesiastics. I think I posted that yesterday, where it says, you should have not 7 streams of income, but 8. Anybody can go out there and Google that. 8 streams of income. What does that mean? Is the preacher talking about it? Are we discussing that? That's important.
Right.
It means even God doesn't trust your job. It says you don't know what's going to happen in the land. Even God says, I don't trust you. If you trust your job, I don't trust it for you. You need 8 streams of income. Why do you do that?
Wow.
Of course, you want to go to work for one income stream. You go beyond that, right? Well, that's what we're talking about: investing, options trading, all this stuff we talk about. Real estate.
So even God was basically, he was telling you then you need to expand your portfolio.
That's correct. Don't rely on one income.
Everything that we see today, I guarantee you, we can go back in the Bible when God was dropping those nuggets way back when. It's just up to us whether or not we're listening and applying them
to our lives. That is correct. And let's say this: something happens to our primary income stream, we say, God, why didn't you let that happen to me? I could turn around and say, hey, I told you to get 7 or 8 streams of income. But those are not conversations we're comfortable with having. But that's the reality of it. That's the way you need to think about even money. And you have to have money to have influence, to have an impact, to create change. You got to have money. And it's not an evil thing. Like you said, it answers all things. So people need to understand the lust of money is what makes people, evil, not the ideal or the money sitting there by itself. So we have to always be mindful of, how to look at money. And again, as a culture, we haven't really been properly taught these things. We hear these cliches and people just run with it. And intellectually, we don't want to dive into the details of what does it actually mean. And we have to start doing that, right? And that's kind of what we're trying to expose others to. The idea of allowing your money to work for you, creating another stream of income. Those things are important.
Ray, I want people to get involved. I want people to understand that investing in an idea or in a company is not just for the rich. It's not just for the person who has a finance degree. You don't have to have a certain level of education to invest in the stock market. Now, which is why I'm going to actually ask you where people can sign up for your programs or increase their knowledge on how to invest in the stock market, because you do need to have some basic knowledge. You do need to follow a method and sound practice for investing. And most of all, I would say you have to take the emotion out of it, and you can't think like the average person when they see the stocks falling because the interest rates are going up, or the Fed's going to do this, or the Fed's not going to do that, and look at the news like everyone else, looking at things from a novice standpoint. I think it was Warren Buffett that says, hey, when everyone else is panicking, that's when you should buy.
That's correct.
That's when you should start gobbling it up.
That's correct.
So,
that's correct.
Yeah. But like I said, but who am I? I'm still a pupil. I'm still learning from you, and like I said, I'm still growing my portfolio. And I will say this before we get to your information. Hey, I went through and this personally. I went through a period, like I said, of financial hardship. But you know what? But because I had multiple streams of income, I was able then to lean on those things to get me through that rut. And, hey, came out on the other side even more blessed, had a Job moment, came out even more blessed than what I was, before that. So, but I just want to encourage everybody right now, write this information down, whatever you got to do, roll it back, play it over a couple of times until you get the information down, and you need to contact this man and get in the program. Get your finances in order. You need to start investing, become a smarter and more financially astute person. If you had a household, whether it's single mom, whether it's dad, it's your responsibility to make sure that house is financially sound and that you're leaving an inheritance for your children's children. So you heard what I said, right? The Bible didn't say for your children. He said for your children's children. So the Bible's talking about generational wealth. Scripture. So all these little buzzwords we hear now, the Bible's been talking about that. That's old news. So right. We're just behind. Okay.
That's right. Or hard-headed.
Or hard-headed. Yeah. Right. Or hard-headed. You're right. So,
right.
Ray, tell the people how they can get in contact with you and how they can get started.
Okay, sure. Well, the best way is to go out to the website, and it is reserve.symorinvestments.com, and I think you may have that in the caption as well. But there on the website, you're going to see a variety of products, right? And again, we started in 2016, and because we are a dynamic organization, we have to meet the needs of our people. And over time, our needs have kind of evolved and gotten more inclusive and at the same time, more comprehensive, right? So we started off with the training courses, right? The live beginners foundational training course. And I'm going to talk about that course really quick. You said the word patience. Recall at the very beginning of that course, we say no emotions and patience. That was in bold and red as soon as you sit in a chair and start to listen to me. That is still the case today, even for the most advanced training or the most decorated investor that we have. You still have to have that. And also in that beginner's course, it tells you how to create the framework for a portfolio. Now, a lot of times people can say, hey man, I can buy stocks. I can open up a Robinhood account, Webull. I can go out on YouTube, I can listen to the TV channels, and I can buy something that sounds like it's going to do well. That is a mistake. And that's why a lot of retail investors find themselves saying this, well, the market's rigged, this doesn't work, but they never say, hey, I really didn't understand the fundamentals, and I really just went in emotionally charged up and thinking I knew what I was doing. You could be a professional doing something else and say, yeah, I can do that. I tell people sometimes it's like flying an airplane. You get in a plane, you can look at the cockpit and look at the pilot up there and say, okay, he presses the lever this way and the plane goes up. He presses it that way, it goes down, and he lets it go straight ahead. You can do that. It looks pretty easy. Would you really want to take that chance? Some people may. Most people are going to say no.
Well, I'm not flying with you. I'll tell you that.
They're going to fly with you. Now, we know it's not a life or death situation, but for that green dollar bill you have, it's a life or death situation, meaning you're going to either have it or not. So in other words, when you go out there half-baked, just saying I'm going to buy stocks and I'm going to listen to all these different avenues, I'm going to go out on YouTube and just try stuff, you understand that you're having a risk. And if it doesn't work, be honest and say, hey, I tried to do it that way and it just didn't work out. Now, you can be very smart and it can work out fine. But most people don't get things that way. A lot of information does not mean you got the information. What we try to do in that foundations course, Morris, is build out a framework of how to build out a portfolio. That framework is going to be valid regardless of how extensive of training you add on top of it. So the first thing we try to do is give you a foundation. This is how to construct a portfolio. This is how I check my emotions. And then we add some advanced tools on there to allow you to start analyzing some of these stocks. Then we give you a full analysis course, okay? So at that point, you do the first 3 classes, you are ready to rock and roll with the portfolio. Then we introduce something called options trading. That's something when you got a solid portfolio, you know the foundations of stocks, how they work, how they're going up and down, what's determining why they're going up and down. Once you get that figured out, we like to layer on options trading, which gives you the ability to make short-term income. So now we got long-term stability with that portfolio, okay? So I'm secure in my retirement, long-term, and I tell people we love long-term planning because if you look at a 401k now, Some people tell you, a lot of people got $1 million in 401k. That's long-term planning. We don't go that long with it, but we want you to be able to get a great reward between 3 and 5 years on the market. So that's portfolio. That's for the portfolio, stock portfolio. Then we layer on short-term options trading, which gives you the ability to turn contracts over to make money in the short term. Because some people say, hey, Ray, I love what you're doing, but I need to make some money now. I need another stream of income. Well, we do that with options trading. We don't want you to just do options trading without a portfolio, because I say this to people. Yeah, we can give you some more money, but guess what you're going to find to do with it? You're going to spend it. 5 years from today, you're going to say, well, I bought this, and this, but you still have anything put up. You still can't stop working. I'm telling you, man, I've talked to people all the time who come, they reach out to me. I even had one out yesterday. She worked 20 years for a company. She said, hey, I got a grandbaby now. I don't have anything put up. Well, how much did you ever get a 401k plan? Well, I did 1%. That was a red flag for me. I knew right then you didn't appreciate the market. If you're going to do 1% on that, means you're just doing something just to keep them off your back or keep the line item there.
Right.
So now you got a grandbaby, and she's hiding here trying to hurt and get some money really quick, want to go straight to options. Not a client for me. I don't want that. I want you to appreciate what we're talking about, building out some long-term security, then layer in options trading on top of it. So when I talk about the products and how we've evolved, so we did all that, and then I come to find out that sometimes people say, hey, Ray, I love what you trained me on. I love what you're doing. I need it. However, Ray, I'm running a business. I got grandkids. I got 2 jobs. I don't have time. So the way we kind of, morphed into where we are today is we introduced these shadow programs, which means this. Well, set up a portfolio, set up your brokerage account, understand what we're doing. Well, we're going to help guide you to that golden portfolio. So for the next 3.5 years, I'm going to walk you through the investments to make. I didn't say the word buying stocks, investments. And we're going to help you grow your portfolio over a 3.5-year period, which to me is a partnership at that point. Once we're in for 3.5 years, we're partnered together. Your success and my success is tied in together, right? Oh. So we got the portfolio for long term, and then we do the short term with options trading. We say, hey, all right, guys, so if you got a retirement account already, you don't have to do the portfolio. But if you don't have anything, we want you in that portfolio program. Then you may say, hey, I want to do some income as well. Then we have this shadow options program that lays on top of it that allows you to go out there and make short-term income with us on a regular basis. And I've been talking about it today all day. It's been keeping me busy. We have a shadow options trader who did $20,000 in one day. 20 grand. I sent the post out, the actual trade. I shared it on my social media platform so people can literally see it's possible. Not that everybody's going to do that, but if you can strive and learn and get to a place like that, who doesn't want to learn how to do that? To me, you should want to do
Absolutely.
that. Okay? So, but that's kind of where we are and how you can get started.
And like I said, we started at the top of this podcast, and I said it's so easy, a caveman can do it. To get started, get that momentum, take the first step. So we'll have the information at the bottom of the screen, and you'll be able to go to the website and sign up. As a matter of fact, reference REP, Religion, Economics, and Politics. When you do that, we want to track that. We want to see, how many people are taking advantage of this opportunity. Folks, you heard it right here from Raymond Brown, symorinvestments. I can't make this any more clear of how much this is going to change your life once you start down that road in investing. Like I said, I've done all the programs he's talking about. I've done them on a personal note. Now, I will tell you, life happens. As the kids say, life be lifing. So that's never going to stop. And because I did invest and make that decision, my mother passed away in 2021. And I had just made a nice little profit. And guess what? That paid for my mother's headstone. I had no idea that was going to happen. Right. But, I wasn't stressed out, about how am I going to pay for my mother's headstone. It's enough that you're grieving, that you lost a loved one, but then to have financial strain to compound that, nobody wants to go through that. And I'm not saying that it's going to happen exactly the same way for you. Of course, nobody can promise that, but if you follow the program and trust the process, you will set yourself up to be prepared for those things that happen unexpectedly in life.
That's great. That's great. And it's the right thing to do. It's the right
thing to do it. Absolutely.
We know investing is the right. I can hear my mother, my father said, boy, put some of that money up. Don't spend it all. I don't know if parents are doing that today. I don't know if they're saying that today. My grandmother talked like that, right? Don't spend it all. Put some away.
I hope they are.
I'm here to tell you guys, put some away. Do not spend it all. Invest in yourself. Pay yourself first. That's the most important thing. People say, well, I got to pay these bills and I got to do this. Pay yourself first. I guarantee you, those credit card companies, mortgage companies, they're going to survive. You're the one's going to be in need.
Right.
With that in mind, understand you are your number one priority. Your number one priority is not to be able to remain healthy, to go to work every day, to be a healthy employee. Your number one priority is to be able to sustain yourself and to be able to survive without that employee. Okay, so that's the number one goal. Pay yourself first, ensure that your future is taken care of, and then you start looking out for the future of your children and grandchildren. That's important.
Yes, absolutely. And, I agree with that 100%. And people have heard me say right here on this podcast, treat yourself and your family as a corporation. That's because right. A corporation is always going to take care of itself before, they take care of anybody else. If it comes down to it, for the life of the corporation, they're going to do whatever they need to do so that corporation can be in good shape.
That is correct.
So think of it that way. Anyway, we're going to leave it right there, folks. Man, this is great. Of course, Ray, you know what? You and I could probably go on forever.
That's correct.
But I want to give people an opportunity to sign up for your programs. So the sooner we end this podcast, they can go onto your website and sign up and get started. And look, do this for me. Do me a favor. Keep us posted on how you're doing in the program and send us a testimony, if you will. You can contact us at REP Podcast, contact at REP Podcast. I would love to hear how things are going for you. Anyway, as again, you've heard it from Raymond Brown, Cyber Investments. Ray, thank you again for stopping by to chat with us.
All right, thank you. Appreciate you guys for having me. Thank you.
All right. As always, folks, stay encouraged. Be blessed.